We've talked about basic output with the cat or concatenate command. Now I wanted to show you how you can manage your output a little more easily. Oftentimes when you're printing out a lot of information, you're going to want to sift through that information using either something called a pager or grep. So what we're going to be doing in this module is practicing managing our output. And a great way to do that is going to be by going in to our var, V-A-R directory. So I'm in the root directory here. I'm going to cd into var. And then from here, I'm going to enter into the log directory. Now, the reason that I'm in var log is because log files tend to be very long. And because they tend to be very long, it can often be helpful to use what's called a pager in order to manage that output more effectively. So, for example, if I type cat boot.log, I can concatenate the boot.log file. And I can use shift and page up and page down to read the file. Now, this particular file, boot.log, is not so long that I cannot scroll up using shift, page up, and page down. However, some log files will be so large that you will not be able to scroll up using shift, page up, and page down when you concatenate them. In fact, let me look and see if I can find a log file here that might fit that description. Let's open up yum.log. We haven't talked about yum yet, but yum is going to be our package manager. It's going to handle installations of packages. And you can see here, good chance to practice sudo, that we need root privileges in order to even read this log file. So you can see here, that's a very short file. Let's go ahead and concatenate something that could be longer, like dmessage. Dmessage is somewhat long. It looks like dmessage might be a good example. So here I'm at the top, I'm hitting shift page up, and it's not going any further here than console color VGA. Is there more output? Let's find out. Cat and dmessage, then the pipe symbol. Now this is the symbol that is going to be attached to your backslash key, more than likely. Cat dmessage, and then the pipe. That's the straight line, straight up and down line, usually goes on the same key with the backslash. And then I'm going to type less. Now less is a pager. And what less is going to do is create pages so that we can flip through the output as if it were before us in book format. In fact, with less, we'll actually be able to scroll through it, but that's the idea. That's why it's called a pager. And there are many different pagers out there. I prefer less for a pager. And before we do that, I want to explain what the pipe is doing. So we talked in a previous module about the two ampersands and how that would enable you to run two commands back to back from one command line. So the pipe is going to function in a similar fashion, but the difference between the pipe and the two ampersands is that where the ampersand is going to have commands run in succession, the pipe is actually going to run before the previous command has completed. So we're going to concatenate dmessage, but before that completes, before it's actually printed out on the screen, we're then going to forward that information for output through less. So we're telling the machine we want to concatenate dmessage, but wait a minute, before you output that, we put our pipe in there, before you do that, we want you to filter it through less, and that's what we're going to do now. Here we can see that we have concatenated this information and we've put it into the less pager. Now we use the arrow keys up and down. I'm going to scroll back up to the top. We began here at the top, and you can see that this makes no mention of our VGA color up here at the top. And so you can see there was more information here in this file. than we were able to see using Shift page up and page down. So we've put it into a pager, and now using the arrow keys, we can scroll up and scroll down to read the entire file. And again, log files are a really good example here because log files tend to be very large. And so you'll often need to put these large log files through a pager. Once you reach the end here, you'll see end at the bottom. And you can simply hit Q in order to quit and to drop back to your command line. Now there's another way to manage your output, and we'll use dmessage again and then pipe, but this time we'll use the grep command. Now get familiar with grep. You're going to be using it a lot to manage your output and to search within a file. So we are going to do grep VGA. Now what this is going to do is concatenate the file, but of course before it completes, grep is going to have a go at it, and grep is only going to print out, or rather grep is going to eliminate any line which does not contain whatever we specify. Here I'm specifying VGA, so let's go ahead and do this. Cat dmessage pipe grep VGA, enter, and see what happens. You can see only one line was printed because only one line contained VGA. And that was the only line that was printed, and conveniently, grep also has highlighted that term or that phrase that we searched for here in red for us. So we can practice this again using anything else that we would like to use. Let's say system, and here you can see it has only printed out that which pertains to the word system. And it's enough that we don't have to put it through a pager because grep has gone in and tossed out anything. It's only printing out what contains the term that we are searching for and not anything else. So you've learned a little bit more now about how to manage output using grep and using less. Remember, less is a pager, and so it's going to paginate your output, and that can be very helpful. And grep is going to search for keywords and phrases within a file and only print out lines which contain the key phrase or key term that is specified.